know the saddest part for me is how this is affecting his children, and not Justin, not Christian, because I think Justin and Christian benefited from the allure, that big monster of who their dad was. They benefited from that. So I don't think they ever moved in a space where they felt like shit could get bad for me, or you know, I have to move carefully. No, they felt like I could do whatever the fuck I want, and I'm gonna call my daddy if I don't get my way. Like, you did what? You said what? I'm gonna call my daddy. Or you already know who my dad is, so you're not even gonna try me in that way. I think that's how they moved through the world and they benefited off that. I'm really, really sad for the twins though, and even his youngest baby, because the youngest baby is literally like a year too old, I would say. She is not gonna have no idea who her father is. You know what I mean? She's gonna know again, like we knew, we're gonna know that big allure of like Diddy being the billionaire and like doing it in the music industry. But she's also gonna know the crash and burn even more, because people don't care about what you did that was good. They're only gonna look at what was bad, because that's gonna be what is the big shadow, or dark cloud hanging over it. So it's going to be tough for her, and I think the two girls as well. They are just getting to an age where, I think if they were younger and still didn't too much understand the internet, they wouldn't be as affected. Like, they would know their dad's not there, and things like that. But I think through time they would be able to deal with it. But they are at an age where they know exactly what is going on in the internet. They are internet babies, you know what I mean? So I think this is going to affect them way more than it would the other two who grew up through it. You know what I mean? Like, Justin was born basically through Diddy's whole career, and Christian is about half his, a little bit closer in age. So they kind of grew up with that, and building it up and going from this house to this house and seeing the cars get bigger and better. The two youngest girls, they literally were born at the time where he had it. He was at his peak, right, with Kim. So they had it, and now all of it is just so messed up. And I just think about those kids. Like, that's really tough. That's really sad. Um, I saw there because like their TikTok always came up on my page, and so I saw a video by them, and I was like, oh, like they must be still posting, and no, those babies have not posted since, I think it was like September or something, like the beginning of September. All their comments on their videos are off, so they understand what's going on, and that's very sad. And then you have to think their mother is also not here. Their dad is this, and they're young enough to understand. They're young enough to get on their computer and do the research. They're young enough to put things together and be like, like sometimes you see things when you're little. It is not until you get older that you're like, oh, that's what you were doing. That's what that is about. That's what that meant. Oh, and that's going to be a lot to realize, having not grown up through it, right? Like Justin and Christian grew up through it. Those girls came at the peak and only knew from the highs. So, woo, that's sad. Yeah, that's tough. That's really tough for the kids. And I don't want to say it, but if we're thinking about how does this end, I don't see how this ends good. I really, really don't. I didn't think it was going to get this far. I don't know. I don't know, because now I feel like this was almost like an avalanche effect. Like, I don't know even if I'm speculating that it had something to do with this lawsuit against the liquor company and pissing off the wrong people and things like that. I don't even know if they anticipated it being this big. I think they wanted just um the embarrassment of the sexual allegations, but then other people saw that and they were like, oh. And then, people just start piling it on. I think they thought the sexual allegations would be enough to obviously get him to back down, get him to walk away, get him to shut his mouth, and tarnish his name a little bit with these sexual allegations. And Diddy chalks it up and he moves on. I think once it happened once and two, and then everyone just kept at it on. It's like, let's look into this guy. And then from there, it just became that avalanche that just kept going. And yeah, oh, it's awful. It's not awful in a way that's like, if you did the shit, you know what I mean? You have to do the time. I think it's awful in a way that people, when you get money, you gotta remain humble and you gotta just stay in your lane, put your blinders up, and mind your business, because these are things that can happen and you can just ruin something great by letting your ego and all of that macho bravado shit get in the way. And I think the children are going to suffer a little bit. I heard that a lot of Diddy's businesses and all, a lot of his money shit is in his mom's name. But who's to say? I hope now, he's had time, obviously, I think, to get his affairs in order. So I think, Christian will be okay. Sean will be okay. The girls will be okay. Quincy even will be okay. Little girl will be okay. Like, I think people will be okay. But I think as far as continuing to run it, I think his mom is not all the way, you know.